What's up, everybody? It's Imagifilms. So today I'm going to go over some quick tips on how to get started in the Emporium metaverse and just get to building on some of your plots. So the first thing I'd recommend is downloading Blender here. And so Blender is going to be your main tool, either building assets from scratch, or you can manipulate some assets that you find online. So we're kind of going to go over that process. Not so much building assets for now, but grabbing some online and using them inside of your space. So Sketchfab is a good website I'd recommend. There's also Turbo Squid and a few others that are pretty great, but Sketchfab is great. You can come in, and as soon as you drop in on this landing page, you can search for a 3D model. So I had up low poly rocket. We'll just search that one more time, and you can come here to downloadable. And now your main thing here is you want to make sure that it's low poly. I included low poly in that because currently this metaverse it struggles to handle a lot of high poly assets, and that may be upgraded in the future, but for now we want to keep this as low poly, low texture as possible. So we're going to give it a second to think. There we go. Okay, so I like this one here. So we're going to go ahead and grab this. If you click on it, you can come to download 3D model, and looking at those triangles, that's a good size. So download, and we're going to do a GLB. And the reason for a GLB instead of all these other formats is it'll plug directly into MML editor. Now MML editor is what you're going to use to assemble the environment that goes into your bitmap here. So essentially, you'll generate code here. And well, let me just walk through it. So we're going to go to what we just downloaded, this rocket ship, and throw it into a folder here. So we can do just like that. And then with MML editor, we can then take our assets, go to upload, select the file. And then from here, I'm just going to copy paste that into that search bar, and there we go. Very small asset. So then from here, we want to copy that to our clipboard, go into our scene, and you have a bunch of different things to do here. So you have a cube you can put in, a sphere, a cylinder, some audio, just a bunch of different things. Some of them are interactable, which is really cool. But for now, we're going to do this 3D model here. So you click on that. And then over here where it says ID, you can say, what is it? So we know that it's a rocket that we want. And it updates here. And with SRC, we take from that assets, what we just copied. We're going to put that into the SRC. And so now we have our rocket here. Now, one thing to note is if any part of this mesh is clipping below this grid that you see here, then it's not going to appear. And so just as an example, we're going to do Control A and Control C to copy that. And you come back into your bitmap. And then in this bar right here, go to your space, click on the bitmap that you're using. And if we Control V that, nothing's happened. Now, alternatively, we have the same model. Let's move it up a bit, maybe up here. And we're going to copy that. And when you add it, it should populate right there. So that is how you get an asset into the Emporium. One other thing I forgot to note in the initial recording, this not only cannot go below this invisible grid right here, but any edge of this map. So it can't go outside of the bitmap itself, or outside of the parcel, I should say. The same goes for the roof. There's an invisible grid up there. So we'll kind of see what that looks like. So let's go back to right here to our rocket. So we'll take this one and just kind of see how far can you take it out here. So we'll copy that, throw it back in here. And when we save those changes, okay, so there it is. So it's right pretty much at the edge of this. So what you're gonna notice is when we go back here and we just throw it a little bit further, oops, yeah, a little bit further outside, it is not going to show up. And so yeah, it's not there. So the same thing applies for way up there. Say you make an asset that is like just a really big rocket ship. So obviously it wouldn't spawn in because we know it's below this invisible grid down there. But say it's like way up here, and you kind of got to play with these values to see if it will still spawn in and kind of find the upper limits of your bitmap. Like for example, for my, see this one, it's still there. But if you go a bit higher, it may not be. The way that Will from Block Runners explained it to me is that there's like an invisible box around each of these bitmap parcels. So say that smaller parcel over there, it may only have a cube around it that goes up to this height, versus this larger one over there, it may go way up into these limits. And then this even larger one, it has an even higher ceiling. So just keep that in mind. See here it spawned in, but you know, say if we go back here and we bump this up to 20, even though it's within these limitations of my invisible grid, you know, it's not below here, and then I know that I can come out to somewhere over here. It may not be within that upper bound. So say we come back here into the Emporium, and it looks like it's gone. So just keep that in mind. If actually, it might just be loading. No, it's gone. So yeah, just keep that in mind when you're building. Try to keep within that invisible cube on your bitmap.